Good evening, everybody. I'm going to show you how you do a segmented carve on a CNC machine, specifically the Piranha CNC. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick what you do on the computer. It's already done, so I'm just going to show how it's programmed. Okay, so with these, you have to program them. My CNC can only do 12 inches by 12 inches. So what you do is you set this up on here. You do the first section of words. This whole word is going to say stagger place. So you set the first segment of letters in there, and you measure from the center. So it's a 3-foot sign, so you measure from the middle of the 3-foot sign to the end over here where my cursor is, and that measurement is 15 3/8. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So you go through this process, and then for the second segment of letters, hold on, it'll be easier if I do it in 3D view. For the second segment of letters, you go from the center point of the 12-foot working space, and you measure from the center to the end of the E, okay, or to the edge of the E, and that measurement is 4.5 inches. Okay, so then once you have that cut, and you do the same thing with the last piece, you measure from the center to the edge of the L. Okay, and you save all that stuff in there, and you have to do it sideways because that's how you're running it through the CNC, and I'll show you that in just a second. So this sign here is one that I've already done. Focus, focus, focus. This sign here is already done, so I already have reference points made. So the first segment that I was showed was the STEG. Okay, so we measured from the center to here at that, was that 15 3/8, I think it was. Okay, and so now we have our edge, which is here, that 15 3/8 mark. You measure back 6 inches to find the center point where you're going to carve. I'm sorry. Yeah, so actually there was a second measurement that you needed. You need to measure from this point to this point in the computer to find out what it is, and that's actually 5 5/16. So now you found your center point. So your center point, you measure out 6 inches, and you measure out 6 inches, so that way you can get your center lines by doing your diagonals. Okay? And you just work your way down, and since I know that the spacing between these letters is a 1/2 inch, you measure a 1/2 inch from that point to here, and then from there you measure your 6 inches, and you measure your center point to here, which was, I believe, 4.5 inches. You make your lines, you make your lines here and here, and you get your cross reference, and so on and so forth down. And then once you have one board established, then you can transfer the marks over to this side, and you get all your center points. Okay, it will make more sense when I run it through the CNC, so just stand by and I'll show you that. Okay. So it helps to have a jig set up on your CNC machine, so that way everything is exactly the same every single time. So you put your board in here, okay, and my CNC is already zeroed to the other sign center. Okay, so now what we do is we slide this board in, we hit move to 0, and now this board, the CNC is centered where it needs to be. So we just line it up on the center of the X relatively. It's a little off center in this orientation, but that's okay as long as it's the same orientation all the way down the board. I mean, it's off by like a 32nd of an inch, so that's not that bad. Okay, so now we clamp it just a little pressure this way, and that's not going to move. Okay, it's not going to move left or right, it's not going to move front or back. And now we can bring it back up so it's at a safe height when we turn it on. We go and we select the carve file on the keypad. Alright. And now we just carve. And I'll speed it up here to show you it a little faster, and then I'll move to the next part and you'll see how the segmenting works. See that better? No. Okay, so it's a little hard to see. There's a little bit of a glare. Sorry about that. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to the main page, that way I don't accidentally hit any carve option on it, because that would be bad. Alright, clamp it there. We slide it down to our next point. We move to 0 and we line up the tip of the bit with our mark. Put a little pressure there, it's not going to move. Bring the machine back up and we go to our next file. Alright, and now we move it again to our last segment. Okay. And the board's a little heavy, so I just put a clamp in the back to keep it from flopping around. And we just move it down, centered up on our mark. And if you can see in the camera, all these different lines are different colors, and the purpose for that is just so that we don't put, when I'm marking everything out, I don't get my lines confused. It just makes things run a little bit more efficiently using the different colors. I can show you what it looks like for on the first one. You can see how it could get a little confusing. See, you see all the different marks on there, so I added the colors to keep it organized a little bit better. Okay, so now that we're lined up on our mark, bring it back up to a safe height. Then we go to our last Okay. So now we have our segmented engraved sign. So even if you do get a CNC machine that can only do that, its working area is only 12 inches by 12 inches, you can figure out ways to make big stuff on small machines. I'll do another video later about how you do a 12 by 12 or a 24 inch by 24 inch sign on a 12 inch by 12 inch CNC. So just look out for that, and I'll do another video showing how that's done. Alright, I hope that this helps some of the novice CNC users. I am myself novice. I will not say that I'm an expert, but this is a method for doing segmented signs on a small CNC. Alright, well, good evening, and make some dust.